Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Ohio Guys here. I'm Tristan Ocampo, and today I'm being joined by Joe Zieja. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you uh, for joining us for this interview. We're excited to ask you some questions.
Yeah, excited to be here. Just to set it straight, though, it's Zieja. Sounds just like zebra, but not quite.
Okay. Did I say it right, though?
You said ZJ, which I've heard before, but
Is this how I say it then? I want to get this right.
Zieja.
Zieja. Okay, Zieja.
Yeah.
My mistake.
No worries. I've heard much worse.
All right, so got some questions we'd like to ask you. First of all, what is it like working in the industry today?
It's so different day to day, and it kind of depends on what part of the industry you're asking me about. Voiceover is an extremely diverse industry in that you are never really doing the same thing each day. I work on commercials, promos, anime, video games, cartoons, and also a lot of corporate stuff. There is just a tremendous amount of work out there that needs voicing, and some of it's not always so glorious. So, are you asking me more of like, what's it like to be working in the LA industry or the anime industry, or which one would you like to hear about?
Probably like the voiceover, both the anime and video game and the cartoon ones, just voiceover in general.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like I said, voiceover is very diverse. There's lots of things that need voiceover, but as far as anime and video games and animation, that's I live in Los Angeles, so that's the heartland. You kind of got to be here to do all that stuff. It can be a combination of very hectic and very dry. There's not always a project in production that needs your voice, so it kind of goes up and down. There are weeks where I'll do a tremendous amount of work for anime and games. Yesterday I had 2 game sessions back to back that were 3+ hours each. And then there will be days or weeks even where you won't hear from anybody. So it's constantly changing. It can be very exciting and really great to participate in the things that you were a fan of. Because I was a fan. I mean, I'm still a fan of I'm a big gamer and that kind of thing. It's really neat to be a part of telling those stories for sure.
Right. So during your time in the voiceover industry, what is your favorite project you have worked on?
Yeah, people ask me that a ton, and it's so hard to pick. Um, I just finished up like a full performance capture role for like a AAA video game, so like big budget video game where I got to act in the suit and with the camera on my face and stuff like that. That's really, really fun. You really get to immerse yourself and you get to act with other actors, which in our industry, you don't really get to do that much unless you're doing prelay animation for Cartoon Network or Disney or something like that. Everything is recorded individually. Anime is recorded individually. Video games are recorded individually. So I can't talk about that project yet, but that's probably one of my favorites. Other than that, I really enjoyed my role as Fox McCloud. That was my kind of intro into the dubbing and anime world, which is kind of neat. I hadn't really done a whole lot of it before, and getting to act as one of my favorite characters growing up was super cool. That's probably one of my favorite projects.
Okay. Another question we'd like to ask you: what was it like working on Fate Apocrypha?
Fate Apocrypha was a super cool experience. It was my first large series role where I was kind of like a lead role throughout an entire series that went 2 seasons. It was really cool. First of all, I don't think I auditioned for it. I think they just kind of like cast based on past performance. So like all of a sudden I get this email that was like, "Hey, you're the new writer of Red in the new Fate series." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But the real neat part about it was getting to connect with the rest of the cast. Like I mentioned earlier, many times you don't get to record in the same room at the same time as the other people in your show or your game. And in this case, we didn't either. But we took an initiative after we saw the sort of momentum that the show was taking. We're like, let's all get together and watch it. So we did like a big screening at my house, in my studio, where we all got together and watched the show where we had only previously seen the pieces that we did. Because in the studio, when you're dubbing, you're only going to see, the 3 seconds prior and the 3 seconds after your individual lines. You have no real grand scope of how the story goes if your character's not in a specific scene. So it was really cool to see not only how it all pieced together, but to kind of get together with the cast and share that moment together. And we ended up live tweeting and streaming it the second time we did it, and it was really cool to get to know all these folks that I had created this really neat show with.
That was good. That was on Twitch, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever Twitch streamed, and also my first live tweeting event. It was a lot of fun. We had a ton of fun watching the show.
That was some good times. Second question we like to ask you: what was it like working on Hunter x Hunter?
So, do you mean Hunter x Hunter the movie as Omokage?
Yes.
Omokage was really cool. I don't get to play villains a lot. It's just, for whatever reason, I get booked more as like plucky heroes or like a military-esque voice because I have sort of like a clean, youthful tone. But Omokage was super creepy. So I could take that kind of youthful tone and just kind of air it out a little bit and become like this creepy person who steals eyes. And it was a ton of fun. To play villains are a ton of fun, and playing villains in anime are even more fun because it's like you just take it and you take it to 11. Anime is very melodramatic, so getting to play Omokage in a feature film was pretty cool. And backpacking or sort of going off of the Fate experience, after we completed that, we did the same thing where we all kind of got together and screened the movie because like I had no idea what the movie looked like, and I didn't know who was in it until just a couple weeks before it came out.
All right. So another question: what was it like working on Katsugeki Token Ranbu?
Katsugeki was a lot of fun because the character I play, and it's funny because I can never remember the name of the character I play because there's a joke in the anime where my brother keeps calling me by the wrong name. It's like Higakiri and oh man, no, I can't even remember. So like I don't even remember the name of my own character because it's a joke that my brother keeps purposefully forgetting it. It's a ton of fun, that's a very actiony kind of character. It sits pretty much in the middle of my range. I haven't seen those episodes yet at all. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on. Getting to play this like whimsical, anthropomorphic sword. It was cool.
All right. Another question, and this is a big one that was just announced recently. What was like working on The Incredibles 2?
That was a really neat experience. Incredibles 2 was my first Pixar/Disney production that I had worked on. And, I kind of you get these auditions from your agent and you're almost never really sure what it is. You have to sign tons of NDAs, and even after you sign an NDA, it's usually code names, so you have no idea what's going on. So they sort of sent me a bunch of these incidental roles, and then they booked me, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got to report to Disney on." And I was like, "Oh well, that's really interesting." But normally, you play it down, you're like, "Oh, it's probably like a little short or something. Why would they hire me for the biggest feature film they've released in the last couple of years?" So I get in, and we found out that it was Incredibles 2, and I was like, wow, that was really neat. I got to work with Brad, the director and writer. I ended up they called me back for a second day. The first day I was there with maybe like 10 other actors, and we just kind of filled in a bunch of these incidental roles. But then they asked me to come back a second day to do a couple more, and so I got some really cool quality time with Brad. I ended up meeting Craig Nelson and his wife, and kind of hanging out in the studio. Me and Dave Fennoy were there kind of all day just hanging out. Really cool experience. And even stranger, you don't really know, because the movie hasn't been edited yet, whether or not these roles are either A, going to be you, or B, they're going to end up on the cutting room floor. I ended up recording, I think, 5 roles, and only 2 of them made it into the movie. I ended up playing like a security guard and some guy, not a security guard, the bridge crew that got beat up by the Incredibles, which is super cool, and some guy yelling at Elastigirl in a car. So it was neat. It was cool. It was sort of, believe it or not, it's more of a common trait in the industry when you do incidental roles that you don't know where you're going to be or where your voice is going to be. It was the same with when I did Persona 5. I did a bunch of incidental roles for that game, and I had no idea where they were going to show up. So it's like I got to play an 80-hour game to figure out where my voice is. And be like, oh, yeah, that was me. So yeah, really, really cool experience. Loved working for Pixar. Would do it again in a heartbeat.
Nice. And congrats on being that big movie. That was something.
Thanks.
All right, now we have a video game question we'd like to ask you. What was it like working on Fire Emblem Heroes?
Fire Emblem Heroes was really neat. It was my first experience with the studio that recorded it. I've only been in Los Angeles for just under 3 years, so I'm still kind of making my way and figuring out who's who. And the studio that recorded it, I'm not even sure if I'm totally allowed to see their name, so I won't, because there's all sorts of weird, whatever. But they were a ton of fun to work with, and and I found out that they have this whole sphere of games that I'm familiar with, like Fire Emblem and that whole series. So it was really cool finally getting to meet those folks. Really great studio with a lot of great people in it. I ended up playing. So they've only actually released one of my characters for Fire Emblem Heroes, and the other one is still a secret. So there's another one that should be coming out probably within the next couple months, I'm assuming. Fire Emblem's neat. It was strange. I had never played a Fire Emblem game, and only maybe like 2 weeks before I got called in for the audition did I finish Fire Emblem Awakening. And I was like, oh, that's neat. I just finished this game, and now I'm familiar with these characters and what they're doing. Heroes is a cool, unique project. Not my first card competitive. I guess is it competitive? But I know it's a card game. I play Rowan in Shadowverse, so I'm kind of familiar with the format of card games and how they work and how they're localized. So it was a great experience working with those guys, and yeah.
Nice. All right. Another question that doesn't portray too much with voice acting. What is it like running your own YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel was sort of an afterthought for me as a way to sort of reach an audience. An important aspect of being an actor, or more important, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, is having a social media presence. Understanding that you need to interact with your fans, you need to build rapport, you need to kind of like be a public figure. Studios look for that when they cast. It helps you interact with your fans, and overall it can make for a more enriching experience as an actor, telling stories and experiencing them alongside your fans. And I realized that even though I had done a bunch of stuff, I wasn't very good at either capitalizing on my success or producing content on my own. And I had some ideas of like, well, I do enjoy performing. I wonder if there's a way that I can kind of figure out something that I can do to not only perform, but practice. I wanted to do something that would allow me to practice character voices, that would allow me to practice impressions, that would allow me to practice improv skills, acting skills, because those sorts of things, unless you're like paying to go to a class every day, you have to figure out how to practice on your own. So I started thinking of some ways that I could do so while interacting with fans and interacting with people and building some sort of online following. And I thought that I could do it with YouTube. And I kind of got the idea from looking at Let's Plays and Twitch streamers. I was like, well, what could I do? What's really interesting to me? Because I don't want to jump in and just be another dude streaming GTA 5 and yelling a lot. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. And one of my first passions with video games was point-and-click adventures from the early to mid 1990s, stuff like King's Quest and Quest for Glory, Space Quest, pretty much everything that Sierra ever put out. And I thought, well, those don't have voices. It'd be really fun to kind of play through those, stream it or record it, and kind of throw some character stuff on top. So that's what I did. I recorded the first full season. It's 20 episodes of a show that I'm calling Click and Shtick, which is basically me playing and narrating over the top of old point-and-click adventures, which have plenty of room for improv and funny jokes, especially when the Sierra writers are concerned. Their writing is just so awesome. If it's not awesomely clever, it's awesomely awkward. So there's lots of opportunity to lay some humor on top of it. And I throw some sketches in the middle myself of me, riffing on jokes that I might tell through there. So it's neat. I finished season 1, and I sort of kind of started season 2, which I'm going to stream on Twitch. And then I'll sort of archive to YouTube rather than do what I did with season 1, which is do it all on YouTube. And there's I have other ideas that I want to do that help me practice things. Like, I'm a musician, so I enjoy recording guitar stuff and piano stuff, and I'm a big video game music remixer, so some people have asked me if I could, stream my process when I'm creating a remix for Overclock Remix or Material Collective. And so it's kind of like a new window to fans that provides a lot more flexibility and some unique opportunities that you don't get on things like Facebook and Twitter.
All right. Well, hopefully our viewers are watching this, whenever they might be. Hopefully they check out your channel at Joe Zieja on YouTube. Just your name, and you're right.
Just my name. Pretty much everything on the internet is just my name.
All right, everyone. So go ahead and support Joe's YouTube channel. Just go over there and hit that subscribe button and the bell to get the notification.
Sweet.
Talk for you. All right. And now I have a funny little question we'd like to ask you. If you could be any character you have played in real life, who will you be? And you can mix and match.
Say that one more time. If I could, could I play a character? Say it one more time.
Oh yeah, if you could be a character in real life, you could be either like Ryder mixed in with Fox, mixed in with your character from Katsugeki. So like any abilities or personalities or powers, you can have that.
Okay, so does it have to be a character that I played?
You can.
Is that the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you want to just post some other characters you like, it's up to you. It's a funny little question.
Jeez. I would probably, I guess, pick a synthesis of Fox and Achilles, because they have just this cool balance of attitude and professional confidence, I guess. Achilles is cool because he switches back and forth between like noble hero and kind of wise ass. I don't know. I think I'd probably pick them, because then I get to ride around in a chariot in the middle of the sky. And that would probably make getting around in LA traffic a lot easier.
It would. So there you go. All right. So another question. Is there anything else that you can talk about or anything you want to plug in at this time?
Jeez. I got some exciting stuff coming up, but I'm not allowed to talk about it just yet. I will be at Anime Expo, although I can't reveal in what capacity I will be there, but you can be assured that I will be there quite a bit, interacting with fans of a certain franchise. So stay tuned to my Twitter and stuff like that for those announcements. I also, if you're a sci-fi geek, my sort of side gig is I'm an author. So if you enjoy military sci-fi humor, I wrote a trilogy called the Epic Failure Trilogy, published by Simon & Schuster. You can check it out on all my pages and stuff like that. Take a look. This books 1 and 2 are out. Book 3 is coming out next year. And I guess that's about it. That would be my only plugs. Check out my books. They're pretty cool.
Yep. They're both either on Kindle or you can just buy the physical releases.
Yep, you can find them anywhere books are sold. Pretty much any Barnes & Noble has them. You can get them on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, and pretty much anywhere.
All right. Last question, and we'd like to ask this to all of the voice actors. Any Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other social media for the fans to contact you?
Yeah, pretty much. If you look for my name, you're going to find all my socials, because there's really not that many Joe Ziejas out there, for sure. Twitter is at Joe Zieja, Instagram is at Joe Zieja, Facebook.com/Joe.Zieja is my business page. Reach out to me there. YouTube, twitter.com/c/Joe Zieja. It's twitch.tv/Joe Zieja. It's all my name, because I guess I'm just a horrific narcissist.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, for joining us for this interview. We, the Ohio Guys, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Christian. It was great being here.
Yep. And thank you for our fans for tuning in for another edition of the Ohio Guys here. Thank you all. I'll be signing off now. I'm Christian.
And I'm Joe.
And we all see you next time. Bye, everyone.